This is Fitness Blender's upper body functional strength training workout. All you're going to need for this routine is a physio ball and a dumbbell set. If your balance is poor, then you might want to use a bench instead of a physio ball. We're going to be doing 3 rounds of 7 different exercises, roughly 12 repetitions each. Let's go ahead and get started with round number 1. Our first exercise is an alternating chest fly. You're going to want to use a little bit less weight than you'd normally use for a regular chest fly. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Select your weight, sit down on the physio ball, then roll out until that ball is in between those shoulder blades. If you have a little bit of trouble with balance, you can always use a regular bench for these exercises. Once laying out completely flat, both arms are going to drop to the sides, hovering just about chest level. Then you're going to bring one arm back over top of your shoulder, and as you drop it back down, the other arm's going to come up over top of the opposite shoulder. Just keep alternating back and forth. As you do this, your balance is going to shift quite a bit from left to right. So for more control, you want to keep those feet spread really nice and wide apart. To make it harder on balance and make that core have to work harder, bring those feet closer together. Just be careful because you don't want to lose your balance while holding these dumbbells. As you get further along in these repetitions, those hips are going to want to start dropping on you as those glutes start getting tired. Just constantly be reminding yourself not only of keeping those arms straight, bringing them back and forth, alternating back and forth, but also continually check those hips, making sure you're keeping them up really nice and high. You want a straight line from your shoulder all the way down to that knee. We're almost done, just one more in each arm. Here's your last one right here. And let it relax. All right, go ahead and roll back up. We're going to be moving on to the plank rows next. So facing down, basically in a push-up position. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. With those dumbbells directly underneath those shoulders, you're going to pull one up and out to the side as high and as wide as you can, being as conscious as you can to try to keep those shoulders perfectly level. They're not going to want to completely stay level, but work as hard as you can to keep them level. Just keep that motion going. We're almost done. And there's your last one right there. We're going to go ahead and switch sides, do the same thing on the opposite side. Again, be really aware of keeping those shoulders nice and level, especially as you start getting tired. As you lift that hand up, you're going to want to start opening your chest up to the side as well. Always try to keep that shoulder down nice and low to try to work as much range of motion as possible. We're almost done, just a few more repetitions. One left. And let it relax. Alright, the next one is an alternating shoulder press and Arnold press. You're actually going to be alternating between the 2 different styles every repetition. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. One arm's going to come out to the side like a regular shoulder press. The other one's going to come in front of that shoulder like an Arnold press starts. Nice and slow with that shoulder press. Your hand's just going to come straight up out to the side, directly above that shoulder. With the Arnold press, you're going to start in front of that shoulder, pressing straight up, slowly rotating that fist. So at the end of that motion, you're facing forward. And drop it back down, rotating back in. So at the end of that motion, that beginning spot, you're actually going to have that fist facing back in towards that shoulder. Just keep alternating back and forth. As soon as those arms come down, you're going to switch which position they're in and then start again. Takes a little bit of time to get used to this coordination, but it's a really good exercise. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. This is an alternating dumbbell pullover. Traditional pullover, you're just doing it one arm at a time. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Both arms drop over top of your head. That physio ball is right between those shoulder blades, up high enough that you can actually rest your head on the ball. Slowly lift one arm directly above that shoulder, no further in over that body, just straight up above that shoulder, then slowly drop it right back over your head. Once it goes back to that start position, switch to the opposite arm, slowly pull that one over top of your shoulder and back again. Just very slowly alternate back and forth. Again, if you want to make it a little bit harder for that balance, a little bit harder for those core muscles, just bring those feet closer in together. We're almost done. Just one more on each side. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. This is an alternating skull crusher. Using a dumbbell in each hand. Go ahead and get ready. All right, back out in the same position we were for the last exercise, but this time starting with those hands directly above your shoulders. You're going to bend only at your elbow, dropping that dumbbell down towards your ear, down towards that shoulder, so it almost touches your shoulder and that fist is almost directly next to your ear. Then nice and slow, press it straight back up without letting that upper arm move. You want to keep that elbow directly above your shoulder the entire time, so that area of your arm where that bicep and tricep is stays perfectly stationary. Just keep those motions going nice and slow, under control, nice constant pace, trying to get as much range of motion out of those arms as you can. Almost done, just one more repetition on each side. It's your last one right here, and let it relax. All right, next one is a single leg hammer curl. You can do this one standing if you want to, but the physio ball makes it a little bit harder. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. With one leg up off the ground, you're going to alternate back and forth from left to right arm with a hammer curl, basically so those palms are facing in towards each other the entire time. So it's just like a traditional curl. You want to keep those elbows tucked back to your sides. Go ahead and switch those legs here. We're going to continue the motion with that opposite leg up. Now you want to keep those elbows tucked to your sides so that upper arm stays perfectly straight up and down from elbow to shoulder. Keep it as stationary as possible. The only thing that's moving is that forearm. Just got one more in each arm, and let it relax. All right, next one is a single leg overhead lateral raise. This one's actually relatively difficult even with a really light amount of weight. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. With one leg up off the ground, body nice and straight and tall. You're going to start with one hand over top of your shoulder. Bring the opposite up to meet, keeping that arm nice and straight. Pause directly above that shoulder, and then that opposite arm is going to start coming down to that physio ball, barely touch, and then bring that arm straight back up, keeping that elbow nice and straight. Now just keep alternating back and forth, trying to keep that torso nice and straight up and down, trying to keep one foot up off the ground the entire time. We're going to switch those legs in just a second. Almost done. And pause it right here. Go ahead and switch those legs and start that motion right back in again. Now remember, you want to keep that back perfectly flat. You want to keep those arms nice and straight with just a little tiny bit of a bend in them. Just nice and slow, alternating back and forth. The slower you go with those arms, the easier it's going to be to keep that balance. As you start getting tired, make sure you don't start leaning your chest back. You want to keep that chest perfectly straight up and down. Making sure you don't arch that lower back. Like I said, just alternate back and forth, nice and slow, under control. We're almost done. Bring that arm back up and let it relax. All right, that's the end of round number 1. Go ahead and pause it here if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to start right back into round number 2. Starting back over with that alternating chest fly, go ahead and grab those dumbbells, roll out on that ball so it's in between those shoulder blades. Get ready. And begin. Hands straight up above those shoulders. Drop both out to shoulder height. Nice and slow, bring one up over top of that shoulder. Slowly drop it back down, and then that opposite arm comes up, same position, and back down. Just keep alternating back and forth. Nice, slow, controlled motions. Again, if you want to make it a little bit easier for balance, you're going to spread those feet wider apart. Otherwise, you want those feet nice and close together, making those core muscles have to work really hard for this one. Just have one more on each side. Last one on that left hand. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. Go ahead and grab that next set of dumbbells. We're going to be doing that plank row facing down in that push-up position. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Nice and slow, pull one dumbbell up and out to the side, really nice and high, leading with that elbow. You want that forearm pretty much straight up and down. Pulling that elbow up nice and high, back behind you, trying to keep those shoulders as level as possible. Just keep that motion going. We're going to switch here in just a second. You've got 2 repetitions left. Last one. And let it drop, set it back down. Go ahead and switch sides. Same thing on the other side. Try to keep those shoulders level. Pulling that elbow up really nice and high. Trying to keep that forearm as straight up and down as you can. Almost done. Just 2 more repetitions. It's your last one. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the alternating shoulder and Arnold press. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Sitting up on top of that physio ball, back nice and straight. One arm kicked out to the side, palm facing forward for that regular shoulder press. That other arm is going to be slightly in front of your chest with that palm facing back towards your shoulder. Nice and slow, pressing up, rotating your palm facing forward at the top of the motion. And then nice and slow, rotating that fist back around as you drop that elbow in front of that shoulder so that palm faces back towards that shoulder at the bottom. Now once you're back all the way down to the bottom of that range of motion, you're going to switch which hand is doing that Arnold and which one's doing the regular shoulder press, then start that motion all over again. Just keep alternating back and forth for every repetition. And there's your last one right there. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. This is the alternating dumbbell pullover. Go ahead and roll out on that physio ball again so it's in between those shoulder blades. You can rest that head. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Drop both those hands over top of your head. Then nice and slow, draw one up so it comes directly above that shoulder, no further over your body. Then nice and slow, drop it back, alternating to the other hand, bringing that one over top of your shoulder and back down. Just keep alternating back and forth. Nice, slow, fluid motion. Those feet really nice and wide for more balance. To make it harder, bring those feet nice and close together. You have just one more on each side. Here's your last one. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. This is an alternating skull crusher. Same position, just different motion with those arms. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Drop that hand down next to that ear so it almost touches that shoulder. Then slowly press it right back up again directly above that shoulder joint. Making sure that upper arm from that elbow to that shoulder stays perfectly straight up and down the entire time. Now as those triceps start getting tired from doing this motion, that elbow is going to want to start creeping down over top of that rib cage further down towards that stomach so that shoulder can actually help with this motion. So you want to really be diligent about making sure that that elbow stays directly above that shoulder so that tricep is the only thing doing work. We've got 2 more repetitions on each side. Almost done. 1 more on the other side. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. This is the single leg hammer curl. Go ahead and sit up on that ball. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Start sitting nice and straight and tall, lifting one leg off the ground to start challenging that balance. And then start alternating those hands back and forth from that hammer curl. Keep those elbows tucked back to your sides. That upper arm is perfectly straight up and down. Go ahead and switch those legs. Raise that other leg. Start back in. Make sure those palms are facing in towards each other the entire time. and getting as much range of motion out of that elbow as possible. So a full extension to as high as you can without pulling that elbow forward. And let it relax. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. This is a single leg overhead lateral raise. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Again, sitting up nice and straight and tall on that ball. Pull one leg up off the ground. You're going to start with one hand over top of your head. The other one's going to be resting down next to the physio ball. Slowly lift that resting hand up directly over that shoulder. Then nice and slow, drop that opposite arm down towards that physio ball. Keep it nice and straight. Barely touch that physio ball. Bring it right back up. And then drop that first arm back down. Just keep alternating back and forth. Nice, slow, fluid motions. Keeping those arms completely straight. Just a little bit of a bend in your elbow. And continually checking that back, making sure it's staying nice and flat. We're going to switch that foot here in just a second. And go ahead and switch feet. Bring that other leg up. Start right back into that motion. Now, as those shoulders start getting tired, you're going to want to start increasing the speed on that motion. But keep reminding yourself, the slower you go, the easier it's going to be for that balance. We're almost done. So one more on each side. Bring that arm back up. That left arm drop. And let it relax. All right, that was the end of round number 2. You can either pause it right here, or we're going to start right into round number 3. We're going to start again with the alternating chest fly. Go ahead and roll out on that ball so that ball's between those shoulder blades and you can lay that head back. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Arms come directly up above those shoulders. Both arms drop off to the sides about chest height. One arm's going to come straight up over top of that shoulder and then drop it down, alternating over to the other side. Just keep that motion going nice and slow under control, trying to keep those arms as low out to the sides as you can throughout that whole motion. Just try to keep that motion under control, nice and slow. And remember, the closer those feet are in together, the harder it's going to be for balance, and the more work you're going to have to do with your core. The wider those feet are, the easier it's going to be for balance. Just one more on each side. Last one on that left arm. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. This is the plank row. So go ahead and get in that push-up position. Get ready. And begin. Nice and slow, pull one arm up off the ground, keeping those shoulders nice and level. Try and get that elbow up as high as you possibly can, keeping that forearm as straight up and down as you can. Just keep that motion going, nice and controlled. Got 2 more repetitions and we're going to switch sides. So your last one right here. And go ahead and switch it. The opposite arm, same exact motion. So remember, keep those shoulders nice and level. Almost done, just 2 left. Here's your last one, and let it relax. All right, move on to the next one. This is the alternating shoulder and Arnold press. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bring those arms up, one in a shoulder press position, one in that Arnold press position. Nice and slow, go straight up over top of those shoulders. Drop them back down, then alternate which one's doing that Arnold and which one's doing that regular shoulder press. Just make sure you alternate that position every single repetition. Almost done, just 2 more repetitions. And 1 more. And let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. This is the alternating dumbbell pullover. Go ahead and roll that on that physio ball until it's in between those shoulder blades. You can lay that head back. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Drop both those hands directly above that head. Then nice and slow, pull one at a time over top of that shoulder. Make sure it only comes directly above that shoulder joint and no further over that torso. It's a nice, slow, fluid motion. Remember, keep those feet really nice and close together if you want that core to have to work harder, or spread those feet really nice and wide apart to help you with that balance. Almost done, just 1 more in each arm. And there's your last one right there, and let it relax. All right, moving on to the next one. That same exact position, the alternating skull crusher, just a little bit different motion on those arms. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Start with that physio ball in between those shoulder blades, nice and high up on that back. Place those hands directly above those shoulders. Then nice and slow, bending only at that elbow. Drop that dumbbell down next to that ear so it almost touches that shoulder. Then press it right back up again. Just make sure that upper arm stays perfectly straight up and down. You want to keep that elbow directly above that shoulder all the time. Almost done, just 1 more on each side. Here's your last one. And let it relax. All right, go ahead and sit up. We're going to move on to the single leg hammer curls next. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Sitting nice and straight and tall on that ball, pull 1 foot up off the ground, engaging those core muscles, then nice and slow starting to that alternating hammer curl, palms facing in towards each other, nice and slow, curling that hand all the way up to that shoulder, making sure you're keeping those elbows back behind you. Go ahead and switch those legs, start that motion again. Almost done. And there's your last one right there. Go ahead and let it relax. All right, next one. This is our last exercise, the single leg overhead lateral raises. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. One arm starts directly above that shoulder, the other one's down by your side, touching that physio ball. Just nice and slow, raise that arm up, then swap sides, dropping that other arm down to the physio ball, then bringing that one back up, switching back again. Just keep alternating those arms back and forth, trying to keep that balance as best you can. We're going to switch those feet here in just a second. And go ahead and swap those feet. Lift that other leg off the ground. Start that motion again. Almost done. Bring that arm back up. And let it relax. Alright, you just completed Fitness Blender's upper body functional strength training routine.